Hello, everyone, and welcome to Castoon. I am one half of the podcast, your co-host, the Alpha J of the Alpha J Show, and I'm joined here by Shadow Streak.
Hey, how's it going? I don't have an intro. I told you I'd say it. I told you I'd say it. Because I don't have one. I'm sorry.
But people are expecting at least a little bit of professionalism.
No, look, I'm just going to tell you right here and now, you're not getting any professionalism out of us. At least not me.
We have a lot of topics coming up. All right, we have a lot of topics coming up, including upcoming Cartoon Network shows of 2018. I was sent a video by Shadow of basically a Cartoon Network promo of them showing basically the new shows coming out, some of the new events revolving around current shows that are out, and some games. And I do want to talk a little bit about that.
Oh, yeah.
But first, I think we should get the elephant out of the room.
All right, let's do it.
Ready? So, Teen Titans Go, Teen Titans Go, Teen Titans Go.
Teen Titans Go, Teen Titans Go, Teen Titans Go, Teen Titans Go.
Teen Titans Go schedule, Teen Titans Go schedule.
Teen Titans Go, 40-40-20 Teen Titans Go. Teen Titans Go.
Teen Titans Go. Return of Slade. Teen Titans Go. Teen Titans Go. Schedule spam yellow.
Teen Titans Go. Teen Titans Go. The night begins to shine. Teen Titans Go. Teen Titans Go. The Cape. Teen Titans Go.
You make some very great points.
Thank you. You as well.
All right, let's get into the actual real thing.
That was our Teen Titans Go segment of the podcast. Hope you enjoyed.
So basically, why did this take so long? Well, okay, strap in.
Here we go.
This was actually supposed to be a thing a year ago. It was supposed to be a thing a year ago with multiple people, and it fell through multiple times, believe it or not. The first time was I actually recorded December of 2015. Yeah, 2015. And no, number one, the audio for it, basically, it segmented, it fractured itself in some way, shape, or form. Thanks, Audacity. But even then, I'm kind of glad it's not out because the topics talked about on there and the people that were on there, like, I would much rather have this come out instead. I also tried again, I believe, in the summertime with a good friend of mine, but that also didn't come to fruition, mainly because it was on my old computer, and everything on my old computer was wiped out. So, yeah, it took a year to start this. In fact, Shadow, you even said yourself, like, off this, obviously, that you were also starting a podcast, quote unquote.
Yeah, basically, there were plans, and then a whole bunch of, drama happened, and,
Spicy.
Yeah. You should know. You were there. No, but there was some drama that happened, and long story short, it never came to be, and now here we are. And originally, when was the first time you mentioned this to me? Like May, I think?
I think it's March. March
even? Yeah, I guess it would have been March.
Yeah, it would have been March.
So it's been 10 months since, and like we had been talking about starting it ever since since then, but like we were really going to start it in like September and then October. Yep. And then November. And November we came really close.
Yes.
And then we were supposed to do it in December a few times. And then last week we were about to do it, and then I got tired and wanted to go to bed. So here we are. January 2nd, 2018 at 11:48 p.m. That's the time we're recording this right now.
I don't want you to gloss over that. This guy right here gets tired a lot.
I do.
Very quick. Are you tired now?
No, I'm not tired right now, but I'll probably be yawning in like the next half hour or so.
We got to keep that in.
Oh boy.
We got to keep it. We got to keep it in.
We're going to have to. I mean, that's just the way we're recording this.
Yep. As soon as we hit go, as soon as we hit record, well, actually 4 minutes after we hit record. But as soon as you said go, everything has to go in. Listen, Shadow. Let's say I can't make it, right? I die halfway through. You got to keep going.
Mm-hmm. I do. But how am I supposed to stop the recording on your end?
Look, okay. Look, the murderer will send the audio your way.
Okay, sure. That's fine. I can dig that.
And speaking of murders, we have a network that has murdered your childhood, also known as Cartoon Network. They have released a video. I believe you said they also did something on Twitter, yes or no?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was on Twitter.
They released a video basically going over their upcoming shows, the upcoming episodes, one of them being the return of Bliss, and some upcoming apps I believe they have.
Yep.
Of the new shows, we have Unikitty, which came out pretty much at 6, I believe, according to the Cartoon Network schedule. I also want to give a shout out to that guy. You know, the guy who makes all the Cartoon Network schedules that everyone in our community has been using?
Yep.
Yeah, that guy is a godsend. Him and Nick and Moore, like godsends in terms of schedules and ratings. Like, I need all of that for my videos. But on that video, it showed a lot of new series such as Craig at the Creek, right?
Yep.
Apple and Onion and Unikitty. Am I missing any?
There was also, the one has a really long title. I'm actually going to look it up. But for the ones you mentioned so far, I mean, I did a video on Unikitty, which I put out yesterday, though, but by the time this goes up, it'll be a few days or something. But of the ones that they teased, Unikitty aside, because we'll be getting to that later, I'm really looking forward to Craig of the Creek the most. I think that one looks the most interesting for me, personally.
I know a lot of... Oh, yeah, Total Drama Daycare. That was also on there.
Yeah.
I'm going to give all of the shows an open mind.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give all the episodes an open mind. I know a lot of people hate Bliss, and honestly, when the whole Bliss hate was happening, I didn't watch Powerpuff Girls 2016 enough to know. I didn't watch that episode, obviously. I was too wrapped up in what I was doing. But for preparing for the top 10 and best worst episodes that I'm going to be doing that may or may not come out before or after this, I had to watch the Bliss episode because that was one of the ones suggested to me. If you don't know, if you go to my community tab, I gave suggestions. I basically opened up suggestions for what people think should be on the list. If you don't know about my community tab, because I know YouTube has been a true pain when it comes to notifications for it, it's basically the place where I can run polls, I can run updates, and it's only really available to people above 10,000 subscribers, unfortunately, but fortunately for Shadow, he's almost at 10K, so he's going to be able to use it. I'm using it right now for that. I'm using it to open up suggestions for what's on the best and worst, only because it's a very neat way to organize everyone's suggestions. I did watch Bliss. We will get into that soon, like we'll get into Unikitty. But I do want to talk about the apps. The apps are terrible. They look terrible. One of them's literally a match 3. Like, yeah, that's what kids want. Candy Crush Saga. Like, come on.
Maybe, 4 or 5 years ago.
Like, Save the Light comes out, and people really like it. Why not do more of that? I know, kids are on their phones a lot, but a console game, a solid console game, will go much farther than an app. But I know why they're doing apps is because apps can give microtransactions. But from what I hear from the people I watch on YouTube, AAA games are also starting to have microtransactions like Star Wars Battlefront. So, I mean, it's not out of the realm of plausibility for Cartoon Network to put microtransactions in their console games. Ideally, they shouldn't. Ideally, they should just give us a very solid game for 60, I'll even go $70 of ideally either all the shows put together in some sort of Nicktoons Unite-esque sort of way. Or, like what they used to do with Ed, Edd and Eddy. They did a specific video game for Ed, Edd and Eddy.
Yep.
And I still remember it. I thought that was pretty cool. They should do it for Gumball. They should do it. I mean, even if they do it for Teen Titans Go, at least that's a step forward in terms of console games. I don't think we should be getting apps from Cartoon Network. I don't think, we have enough apps. They have put out a lot of apps. I know a lot of people don't talk about it, but they've put out a lot of apps.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the video games, I'm really interested to see what they're going to do with the OKKO video game that's supposed to come out later this year. Because, first of all, that show is inspired by video games. It's very heavily influenced by video games. So to make an actual video game out of it, well, it seems like the logical thing to do, right? But I'm really curious to see what they do with it. Because, I mean, I'm considering even buying it. But the trailer actually just came out, I think, a month ago or something like that. Yeah, but it didn't show off too much. It just gave us a brief taste of what the game is going to be like. In fact, I'm looking up a video of it right now while we're talking about this. But yeah, I'm actually pulling it up on YouTube. But anyways, aside from that, I know they released another video game. Last year? It was Battle Crashers. Basically involved all of their modern shows Adventure Time, Steven Universe, Regular Show, all of those popular ones. I didn't play it though. The last
Neither
Cartoon
did
Network
I.
game, yeah, I mean, the last Cartoon Network game I played was Punch Time Explosion, which was like that Super Smash Brothers ripoff. I own it for PS3. Buttercup all the way.
I mean, technically, the last game I played was Attack the Light, and I did it for a video, but I did honestly want to play that. I also did try out Card Wars. If you don't know, Card Wars is an app for Adventure Time. It was pretty much a card-based game. I didn't go too in-depth with it. It's alright, I suppose. And Attack the Light is also pretty good. I do want to try out Save the Light, but unfortunately I don't have a console. I did think about getting a console, not just for Save the Light, but Save the Light would be one of the top reasons. Obviously to get other games that are not, cartoon-centric, but it would be great to at least try that out, at least support it. Because again, I think console games can go a lot farther than apps.
Mm-hmm.
Because apps, I get it, microtransactions, but a strong, solid console game with a strong story and good gameplay, that can go a long while.
Yeah, I completely agree. I really would like to see more cartoon-based video games, just as much as I'd like to see like video game-based movies. It's kind of the same thing, but
like the Ratchet and Clank movie.
Yes, but better. I'm like,
oh wait,
like,
was that bad?
It was. I mean, I haven't seen it, but like based on reviews, it was mixed pretty much, at least from what I can remember. I know it did get some pretty harsh reviews, but overall, in fact, I'm looking it up just to be sure. But
Shadow, you're gonna be called I'm looking it up at the end of the podcast.
Look, honestly, I don't care. Look, I have Google at my fingertips. I'm looking it up. According to Rotten Tomatoes, it has 17%, so I was dead wrong. Which is why I'm looking this up.
No, man, you just gotta have no balls. Just say whatever.
It had a $20 million budget, and it only made $13.4 million in the box office. I almost said $13.4, and that would have been like one movie ticket.
This podcast is gonna make $13.4. Let's be honest,
dude. Look, I'm sorry, I can't help it. Oh man, They also on the upcoming CN shows, they also talked about Unikitty, and like Shadow said, he made a video on it. I am going to be making a video on it later. I personally have watched 2 episodes. I watched one episode that revolved around the gray monotone block guy. Do you know his name? Richard.
He essentially couldn't create, what was it, happiness charms or something like that?
Sparkle matter.
Oh yeah, is it like all sparkle matters or something?
Sparkle matter matters is the name of the episode. Yeah.
I watched that, and I also watched the other episode you talked about in your video, in which both Unikitty and the other person they got trapped into a board game.
Puppy corn. Keep trying, Jay.
I don't remember names. I don't remember episode titles. I just remember what happens
fine.
within the episode. And I know that Puppycorn and Unikitty, they were ultra competitive, which led to everyone else pretty much getting the short end of the stick. I watched both of those.
Yep.
And of those 2, Sparkle Matters, I like that one a little bit better. I know there's also another one in which the main antagonist, he basically gets put or falls into or something like that, slips into a snowman.
Yep.
And they go from there. I haven't seen that one yet, although Cartoon Network has been showing it, because Cartoon Network has been showing Unikitty pretty much all. I know we're recording this on Tuesday, going into Wednesday, fun fact, but they've been showing it for the most part all day, not really all day, more of an exaggeration, but a lot, very frequently on Monday and Tuesday. As they should. I just don't think that they should have premiered the show and premiered episodes at 6 a.m. because that kind of ruins like the ratings, because the ratings are based off of the first viewing, and if the first viewing is at 6 a.m., it's not going to get the most, and I don't want Cartoon Network to justify the ratings as, well, you did bad, but it's like, well, yeah, we aired at 6 a.m.
Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, I mean, compared to OKKO's premiere, which, I mean, if we were to go back to that,
yeah,
the way they handled that is they pretty much aired chunks of OKKO here and there interspersed throughout the schedule, and everywhere else was Teen Titans Go. And I get why they did that in some regards, because I guess their mindset was at the time, like, since Teen Titans Go is our most popular show, the most people are going to be watching the network at that time. If we intersperse that Teen Titans Go time with some OKKO episodes here and there, people will watch those episodes because, you know, they're already watching TV or they're waiting for the next Teen Titans Go episode to come on. That, like, they'll watch this new show because, you know, it's there. They've already got their attention, so may as well go for it. I don't know the specifics on how well that worked out. I mean, I would assume it did decent enough because then Cartoon Network continued to spam Teen Titans Go over Thanksgiving and Christmas and, you know, that whole thing.
Yeah.
But like, I think that this way that they're doing it is better in the sense that the way they've organized it is they pretty much air like one episode of Unikitty every hour. And then the other 45 minutes is like episodes of Teen Titans Go or Gumball or OKKO or whatever. So like they're like interspersing it in between their other popular shows to kind of like, you know, again, the same technique. It's just, it's more than one show that they're doing it with.
So they also mentioned the Minecraft Adventure Time special and new episodes of We Bare Bears, which is very interesting to me, especially the latter, because with We Bare Bears, they don't really air too much of it. They don't really emphasize it a lot. So for me, I don't want them to do what they did with regular show last year, so We Bare Bears this year, which is essentially like airing it at 12 p.m. on a Saturday or Tuesday, or like 6:30. Very, very irregular and very inconsistent. I don't want that to happen because I feel like a lot of people, at least for We Bare Bears, wouldn't care as much with regular show because let's face it, regular show, a lot of people gravitate and would rather watch that than We Bare Bears. A lot of people like regular show more. And it shows in the ratings, in the end of the year ratings anyway. But do you know anything about the whole Adventure Time Minecraft special crossover?
Not really, because I don't really follow Adventure Time that much. I just know it's a thing. If I had more to say, I would, but no, I don't. Like I said, I don't really follow it. I can do some research.
Our podcast is going to be the breaking point of news.
I'm going to do some research because that's what I'm here for.
You're going to research?
Adventure Time.
You're going to research?
Minecraft.
Oh my god.
Crossover. Look,
I need all.
Jay,
can we just make a pact? Let's just make a pact to keep all the typing and clicking in.
Okay. If you really want to.
We should. I mean, it doesn't matter at this point.
All right, here we go. Diamonds and Lemons
is
the name of the episode. Season 9, episode 23. Finn and his friends experience setbacks and creative triumphs in a fantastic new version of Ooh. That's all it says. So I'm going to guess basically it's like, let's take Adventure Time and put it in Minecraft. That's my guess. That's what's going to happen.
Well, I mean, Gumball had that with the puppets, with Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. So, I mean, everything's possible. I do like all the collaborations that's happening. I just wish that more shows, and it's not even just Teen Titans Go, it's also Gumball as well. A lot of people don't talk about this, but Gumball actually does air a lot. Like, personally, I don't watch TV, but I do know that Gumball airs a lot and that not many people talk about it. And I feel like a lot of people don't talk about it because for them, they like Gumball, so they wouldn't mind. But as I said in my Teen Titans Go overplaying is not like Teen Titans Go problem video, I said that, like, any show that's overplaying is a problem. Even if they do air, and they actually did overplay Gumball the second to last week of December. Over the weekend, they played a lot of Gumball Season 5, and I don't see anyone complaining about that. And I'm not saying, like, you know, complain about every little thing, but I think we should play fair. Teen Titans Go has been airing all day. We don't want that. We don't want Gumball either. I think all shows should be at least in proportion. Like, I don't think that every show should have, like, this hour block where everyone gets an hour, because that doesn't make good business sense. However, I think we should strike a balance between perfect equality, like, everything gets an hour, and one show all day. I think there's a balance. Maybe I'm crazy.
No, I mean, I get that. Now, I said this in a video I did two or 3 weeks ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago, where I basically talk about the Cartoon Network schedule, and it was more of an unpopular opinion because I took a stance that not too many people. Well, I mean, it got more positive reception than I expected it to, but basically I was expecting everyone to hate my guts. But no, basically in the video, like, I bring up a few points, and one of the things I say is that, like, there's a reason why Cartoon Network spams their schedule the way they do. Now, I don't know, you know, it's hard to say the exact reason, because like obviously like looking at it, it's like it doesn't make sense, but like there's got to be a method to the madness. Like they wouldn't keep doing it if it failed them the first time. While I agree that yes, the schedule could be better, and like yes, you know, I think it is more fair to the other shows. I watch these shows online. Like I don't really watch the network itself, so I'm not really one to argue one way or the other per se. Now I do think like, because like it's a very interesting conundrum. Cartoon Network, they do a good job with, you know, keeping up the diversity on like the app, which by the way I can highly recommend. I've been using the app lately, and it is, oh man, the app is actually like really good if you just want to sit down and watch one or two really quick episodes. Like I can highly advocate for the app right now. It has some problems, but it, you know, it gets by perfectly fine.
I actually do want to talk about the app while you're still on it.
All right, go ahead.
I've heard that you have to connect your cable provider to the app.
See, now that's the thing. When it comes to using the app, if you just simply download the app, you know, right from the get-go, you are given a handful of episodes from each show. You know, you can choose like 2 or 3 from each show if you want. But when you connect your cable provider to the app, you get full access to like everything that's on there. You know, like they have the entire series of the original Teen Titans, like the original Teen Titans, on the app for free. All you got to do is enter your cable information. If you're paying for cable for television, you get it on the app and website for free. You know, and that's one of the...
Okay, well, now I want to bring this up to you.
Okay.
Well, 2 things, but we'll get into the second one in due time.
Okay.
For the app, because you have to put in your cable information.
Yes.
What about people who don't have cable? Wouldn't they just be out of luck in that particular instance?
Well, I mean, here's the thing.
Because you say like you said in your video, right? Use the app.
Well, here I was addressing 3 scenarios in my video. There are 3 scenarios revolving around the schedule.
Yeah.
You either have cable and internet, in which case, boom, app and website right there. You have internet. Well, the schedule doesn't affect you. And, you know, in that case, it's like, well, if you want to watch these shows and you're not paying for cable, buy them on Amazon or buy them on YouTube, stream them on Hulu. You know, you can watch them on these other sources on the internet that you don't like. You may not be able to use the app, but you still have these other alternatives. And then there's also the possibility of having cable but not having internet, in which case there's more than one channel. And if you don't support Cartoon Network, if you don't like Cartoon Network's business practices, don't support the channel during their marathon. Because that was pretty much my core argument, and a lot of people seem to misconstrue that. My argument wasn't that Cartoon Network's schedule is okay. My argument is if you aren't satisfied with Cartoon Network's schedule, don't watch it during that schedule. Like the whole point of my video was basically saying, if you want to watch something else during the holiday season, then watch something else. Because if you watch Teen Titans Go during that marathon, you were supporting that marathon. You were supporting the practice of Cartoon Network continuing to do that marathon typed idea, you know? But like, if you go on the app, like the app had all the not all the Christmas specials, but a lot of Christmas specials. I watched 'Twas the Fight Before Christmas on there. I watched the Fosters Christmas special on there. I watched the Codename Kids Next Door Christmas special on there. Like they had a good selection on the app. And, you know, again, you can also find these things on, you know, Amazon Video. Like if you just want to buy them for yourself to have them, there you go. They're right there. Like there's a lot of alternatives to avoiding the scheduling problem that it's instead of just going on a YouTube video and complaining in the comment section, like just do something. Like do something about it.
It does seem like a lot of people on Twitter and on the internet is basically having the same conclusion that you're having. It's just that another core section, I'm going to play devil's advocate here because, believe it or not, I'm going to actually show the tweet right here. I actually made a meme of this where I basically parody how people in their mind should react to seeing Teen Titans Go airing all of the Christmas break, which was pretty much to enjoy life. You know, like enjoy your Christmas break. You're off school. Yeah. But like that seems like the crazy thing to do. The more rational thing to do is to rant about it all day on Twitter, to rant about it make videos about it on YouTube. If you have a DeviantArt, make a post there. Like, just basically do that. Now,
Yep.
I do want to play devil's advocate, because some people may think that although, like, let's say they haven't supported, let's say they haven't watched it at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
They haven't watched Teen Titans Go at all since the first time someone told them, don't support it if you do not want to see it, right?
Yeah.
What if they feel like nothing is happening? You know, like nothing, like they haven't been watching since the last Thanksgiving break, not 2017, but 2016, when they basically aired Teen Titans Go all Thanksgiving break, or at least the weekend of Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what about them? Like, they feel like they haven't been watching, they haven't been supporting, and it's still going on. Don't you think in that particular case, maybe not in your comment section, but maybe on Twitter, it would be justified for them to let out at least a little frustration for basically not doing exactly what you said for a year and nothing's happening?
Okay, so I agree that would be that would be frustrating, and I'm not necessarily saying shut your trap. Like, that's not at all what I'm saying. Like, it's okay to voice, a concern, but if you're going to do something, like if you're going to say something, at least be, mature about it. Cause like, okay, the people I'm mostly addressing are the people like, and to bring up the CN schedule archive person again, I see the things that they like, the asks they get on Tumblr and some of the things that people mention to them on Twitter. Like, there are people sending death threats to Christina Miller. And there are people like blaming, the heads of Cartoon Network, and they're like doing all this exaggerated stuff, and it's like, guys, calm down. Now, like in the case of people who may have been doing this for a year, let's say, and they're frustrated that nothing's happening. I mean, I don't really understand if you are doing watching the shows on the alternatives, like, what necessarily would be the problem? Because here's the magical thing about streaming. You can watch whatever you want, wherever you want, whenever you want, however you want. If I want to watch Unikitty on my phone in the local park, I can do that. If I want to watch Teen Titans Go on the app, in my living room, I can do that. If I want to pull up Steven Universe on Hulu and watch it on my TV, I can do that. If I want to watch something on a tablet in my bedroom, I can do that. Like, that's the magical thing about streaming. And the thing is like, I get not everyone can afford streaming, but if you're stuck to only cable, there's more than Cartoon Network. And if you're only paying for cable for Cartoon Network and nothing else, I'd recommend just switching, because then you're not really getting your money's worth for paying for cable if you're only watching Cartoon Network.
Well, then my question to you. Well, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so going back to your scenario, the only thing I wouldn't understand is, yes, the schedule might be frustrating, but if you're getting the shows, why is there a problem?
Has there been any valid counter arguments to your video?
There have been. So there were 1.5, if that makes sense. Okay, so let's do the half first. The variety argument can go both ways, in the sense that it's all about perspective and point of view. Because from a consumer's point of view, you get tired of the same old thing. You want something else. Because like, it's true for any show. If Cartoon Network aired nothing but Powerpuff Girls 24/7, even I would be like, okay, like, this is kind of ridiculous. I'm gonna go watch the other shows somewhere else. So like, I get that. And, it is kind of, shoving the other shows to the side. And I do get that. But from a business perspective, Cartoon Network is taking advantage of getting as much money out of it as they can while they still can. Because, Teen Titans Go's ratings, they are declining. So I know it's kind of a greedy thing to do, but like, they're kind of trying to milk every last penny they can get out of it while they still can, while it's still hot. They can either let it die and, just keep airing it how they could, or they could let it die and literally send it out with a bang, just like,
Well, I also made a video on it. I made a video I didn't talk about the schedule until about 30, for a 30-second part in the middle. My video was much more directed towards the entire big picture of Cartoon Network, the marketing, the branding, the deals that are going on behind the scenes, the animation style, and yes, the schedule was a part of it. And I gotta say, shout out, your video did really good. I know you had a story around the way you titled it and the way you put it in the thumbnail, but I think people really did need to hear that. I think people needed to hear that, like, some reviewers don't care. Because when you think about it, and this is going to sound like a call out, so I should probably preface this by saying that my opinions and Shadow's opinions are two totally different things. All right.
Oh boy.
Everyone got that? Go. Click OK. Click OK. Not cancel. Okay. All right. A lot of reviewers really would not do what you did, Shadow. They would not come out and say that they don't care about the schedule. Yeah. Because it is actually more profitable. And I'm not saying that reviewers aren't mad at it. I'm just saying, like, if they could choose based off of potential views or money, it would make more sense to side with the people and say that the schedule is terrible, it's the worst, and talk about Christina Miller. I've never even mentioned Christina Miller on my channel.
Neither have I.
Because it's not relevant to me. She doesn't make the schedules. Why would the CEO make the schedules? I've seen this. I've seen a letter. I've seen people send letters to Cartoon Network, and it's just like, like, if you could have put that time into, like, okay, now I'm getting into this rant. I do this rant all the time on Discord.
Let's do it.
Like, if you could put that time into, like, reading a book, gaining a skill, talking to a friend, or making, like, a constructive, productive, informative, or entertaining, or comedic video, like, your life would be so much better at the end of the day. Like, for the people who are negative about this every day, of every week, of every year, like, you just need to step back for a second. And I know a lot of people hate the whole starving kids in Africa argument that people use for stuff like this, where it's like, you have no reason to talk, there's starving kids in Africa. I want to make a modified argument to that. Like, you really do have to broaden your scope when it comes to a lot of this. This is the reason why when the whole Viacom Spectrum thing happened, I didn't care. With the whole Disney and Fox thing, I do think it's alarming, but I didn't freak out about it. The whole YouTube Rewind was terrible. I didn't freak out about it. And the whole Logan Paul thing was very, very bad, but I didn't freak out about it. More on that later. I just feel like a lot of people wouldn't have done what you have done. They wouldn't have said that they blatantly don't care. I don't care about the schedule either, because and it goes back to what a lot of people who have made videos on the community have said about everyone generally having the same opinion on things. And I don't want to seem as a contrarian, basically saying the opposite of what people say. No. But when I look at the grand scheme of things, having 1 week of Teen Titans Go generally isn't the top of my problems list, and it never would have been. And I understand for someone who's 13 or 12, this is going to sound highly condescending, but I'm a mean guy. For someone who's 13 or 12, like, you haven't lived a lot of life, and you may think that this is the biggest problem in the world, and you want to send a message to Christina Miller. Like, in 5 years, you're not going to remember it, okay? You're going to be on to bigger and better things, hopefully. Unless you keep going down this path, you'll be going on to bigger and better things. You'll be thinking about bigger and more damaging problems. So yes, like, the whole starving kids in Africa thing is, like, pretty bad in its own sense, and it does have its flaws. Just go outside. That's just how I want to end that. Go outside, meet a friend, gain a skill, read a book, just do something else. If it bothers you that much and it ruins your day, just do something else. Like, don't go on Twitter about it, because again, like, that's going to be your year. I know we're just getting into 2018, but do you want your entire 2018 to be that, just complaining about things all the time? I guarantee you don't, because then you're going to look back on 2018 and think that it sucked, but it only sucked because you focus on the negative things. Some people have made the argument that, like, someone made the argument on Twitter. I don't remember the name. If I did, I would say it. I'm not one of those type of people. But basically, they made the argument that by complaining, we got the Hey Arnold movie and we got some other stuff. I believe the 3rd season of Young Justice, basically, and all of that. And I gotta say that, congratulations, you got Hey Arnold the Jungle movie. It failed in ratings. Teen Titans Go did better. It was great. Gem made a video on it. You guys should check it out.
Yeah, there we go. Good job. You shouted out Gem. Good job, Jay. Are you gonna say it or not?
I'm not gonna say it.
Okay.
But I will mention it to him
Keep
when I do the video with him. It's not like it's an illusion. I want to rip the Band-Aid off. It's an illusion because if that worked, then we would have gotten Galactic Kids Next Door. If that worked, you would have gotten anything that we would have wanted.
Mm-hmm.
The point is that a lot of people who even complain about Teen Titans Go and complain about the network, they don't necessarily watch the network. And even if they did, even if Teen Titans Go wasn't airing all the time, half of those people wouldn't even watch Cartoon Network in the first place. Yeah. So their criticisms, at least from their perspective, so let's keep perspectives in mind. From their perspective, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you think because you're not giving them the money they need to sustain their corporation. So in their eyes, your opinion doesn't matter. When you send these angry stuff to them, it doesn't matter. And plus, like I said in my video, Teen Titans Go kind of does benefit off of that. I know a lot of people say that outrage marketing and bad press is bad. And in the short term, no. In the long term, yes, it is bad in the long term. But you see, the thing is, Teen Titans Go is not playing the long-term game. They're not. As soon as, like, they're making the movie, and from what I hear, it's one of the lowest budget movies from Warner Bros. Animations Studios, if they're making it.
Yep.
And they're playing the short-term game. They're going to get the movie out. And before the movie comes out, we're going to be subjected to a lot more Teen Titans Go. So you just have to deal with it. I mean, if you want to look at it in a more positive light, you have The Loud House. The Loud House is also coming out with a movie. So we're going to be seeing a lot more of The Loud House. Bob's Burgers is coming out with a movie. So we're going to be seeing a lot more Bob's Burgers. So you just got to take the good with the bad. Because a lot of people on my video voted that Cartoon Network was just awful 2017. If you think Cartoon Network was awful 2017, Cartoon Network might just be as awful 2018 because, like, the scale that you put it at, like, what you want from them, for some people, a lot of people were reasonable in the comments. But for some people, what you want, you're not going to get, so you're just going to think that Cartoon Network is awful, and you just got to put things into perspective. Like, we're growing older, but the demographic that Cartoon Network is going after doesn't change. Speaking of the upcoming shows on Cartoon Network coming out in 2018, they also mentioned the return of Bliss, and I, luckily, have seen the Power of 4, is that what it's called?
Yep.
I've seen the Power of 4 special, and Shadow has as well. If he didn't, you know how many people would be on him.
I did a video back in September, and it is my most viewed video, so yeah.
Is it your most viewed video, or is it your most viewed public video?
It's my most viewed public video. I'll talk about why I privated the other one at a different time. We'll save that for podcast 2. I don't know.
Okay.
Or 3, or whenever.
So I have watched the Bliss 4-part, or Power 4, 44, 44, 4. And I gotta say that a lot of people don't like Bliss. And if I was a bigger fan of the Powerpuff Girls, I probably would be up in arms about having a 4th Powerpuff Girl. The same way that I can see why people would be mad at the Teen Titans Go 200th special for having the writers insert themselves into it. Like, I get that, you know, like, you've watched this show for so long, you've supported the franchise for so long, and the people who basically get their hands on it, they basically either A, insert themselves, or B, like, drastically change something about it.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. I get the whole outrage. But since I don't really follow the reboot so much, and I am not a bigger fan of the Powerpuff Girls franchise as a whole as Shadow, I mean, I don't really watch the reboot that much. I will say that, as coming from a person who doesn't watch the reboot as much, it's not the worst thing in the world. Bliss as a whole, I don't see what's so, other than the fact that, like, this is now permanent and it's a part of the lore and all of that. I get that, but, like, Bliss as a character to me isn't that bad. Maybe you have a different opinion. I don't know, Shadow.
All right, well,
I'm just talking about Bliss as a character at this point.
As a character. Okay. Well, let's talk about her design first. I think it's pretty bad, not gonna lie.
You think so?
Yes, I do.
I mean, I have a lower tolerance, or higher tolerance, I guess, or low standard is what I meant to say. When it comes to design, she does look like a Powerpuff Girl who essentially went into Photoshop and was scaled a lot larger, especially the legs. Like when they're flying, like the legs just look really, really bad.
They do.
But number one, I didn't. Maybe is it just me? Like it could be just me, but I didn't know that they age because they weren't made naturally.
See, that's the thing. It was never really addressed in the original. You can make an argument for either way. Now, of course, the original and the reboot are separate things, even though the reboot is, still takes from the original. Whatever. The point is they're separate things. In the original, I was always under the assumption they didn't age. The reboot wants to go with the assumption that they do age, in which case I would make the argument, well, if the Powerpuff Girls do age, then how come, and you're not going to know this, but in *Halt and Catch Silico*, the villain of that episode, essentially says that the reason he became evil is because of what the Powerpuff Girls did to him so many years ago. So how come so many years ago they were 6 years old, and then they're still 6 years old in present day in the reboot? So why was Bliss able to age, but not the girls? That's a major writing problem right there. That contradicts what was established in the first season. So it's either retconning the idea and now they suddenly do age, or it's just bad writing, But like, that's only
most likely the latter.
It's the latter. It's totally the latter. And like, it just Bliss as a character. Okay, so with her design, the legs are completely off-putting. The hips, I think, are unnecessary. But what kills me the most.
Okay, but like I just want to throw a bone out there. The Powerpuff Girl design doesn't really give you that much to work off of in terms of arms and legs.
Let me just ask this.
Okay.
If they had kept her in her small form, would it have made a difference?
No, it wouldn't have.
Exactly. Which is why I say it's unnecessary. Because it does not change the narrative that they tell in the 5-episode special. They could still say she's their big sister, but she can keep the same proportions, same size. Even if you want to just, make her slightly bigger, but still keep the same proportions, that will not change the narrative whatsoever. My biggest problem of all is I don't like the color scheme.
The blue, really?
On purple, I don't like it.
I don't mind it.
I don't like it. I like the electric blue, but like I don't think it goes well with that purple.
Do you think if her hair was like yellow, like purple and yellow, because that's like lightning, those are colors generally associated with like thunder and lightning.
Here's the thing. Okay, so the original Powerpuff Girls all have natural hair colors: blonde, black, and redhead.
Yes. Okay.
Even if Bliss went with like a white or a gray, or if they went with brown, I feel it would have been more fitting. And I've seen plenty of redesigns on the internet in which they took Bliss's design and they gave her brown hair, or they even gave her some gray hair, and it looks better because it's a natural hair color as opposed to this just cotton candy cyan. It just does not look right. At least to me, it doesn't look right. Like it's so distracting that I can't help but notice it and just be like, I hate to say these comparisons because I don't know. I never like saying this, but it looks like a bad DeviantArt OC, and it's because of the hair color. If they changed the hair color to something else that didn't clash, I wouldn't be so harsh on the color scheme, but it's just the hair that ruins it for me.
Maybe I look at things differently, but for me, I don't, it didn't ruin it for me. There's other things in it that was really bad, but that wasn't even something I paid attention to.
Well, I mean, obviously the design and, the actual characters writing are two different things, but my whole thing is
I mean, even from an art perspective, I don't know. But that's just me because anyone who's watching my videos, I don't really talk about character design that much. That's just not something I'm particularly interested in. Unless it's extremely bad. If it's Pickle and Peanut, for example, that right there, but for Bliss, I get it, In fact, it's actually pretty interesting that Bliss came out African American. I don't know if that has to do with the chemical, but I feel like that was more of a politics move
It was a completely socio-political move, Jay. Completely.
It was?
It was completely, yes.
Well, we might as well just get into it.
Okay,
Professor Utonium was dumb as a brick for leaving the chemicals on the floor.
That's not even the worst of it.
Oh no, it's not. I just want to get into that.
All right, let's talk.
We just gotta go segment. I don't want to go segment by segment because we have Sonic Boom.
We do have other things to talk about. But okay, let's just
that backstory. The fact
before we get to that, episode 1, what'd you think? The first part
of Sonic Boom.
No.
Oh wait,
of
Power
part
4.
1. Just part 1. What'd you think?
You see, the funny thing is, I watched it all together.
Okay.
Where did it end off?
It ended when he shocked Bliss and knocked her out. So everything from the beginning until when he knocks her out.
Okay. All right.
What'd you think?
For that part, I honestly thought, just like the part where later on, which I'm assuming we're going to get to, I feel like they kept repeating exactly what we heard. Like, it's the same thing over and over and over again. And they're essentially walking you to the door of Bliss will be here at the last moment.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole invisibility thing doesn't come back.
Nope.
Because it doesn't come back at all.
Nope.
Because the thing is, she can teleport, and her teleporting has come back before. But apparently she was invisible for some odd reason. And then there's also the part where Bubbles was possessed for some reason when she looked back.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't come back. From my knowledge, does it come back?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
So, like, those two things don't come back. And I understand that with Bliss, she's not going to be here all the time. If you have to have at least a solid thing for her. And I think for Bliss, the whole teleporting and electric thing, those were cool. And I understand that I don't watch a lot of Powerpuff Girls. I do know that in the reboot, for at least for this episode, they use things like, well, at least for the reboot, they use things like ice breath. They also do that holographic thing that they did.
The Green Lantern powers?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I do understand that they have multiple different powers that they don't necessarily use for every episode. But if you're going to bring it up, at least either show it or place it prominently, because it kind of felt like you had a lot of time and you wanted to build up Bliss. And this just seemed like a very cut and dry way to say, okay, Bliss is going to come at the very, very last moment. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the fact that, the whole, whatever the professor was talking about, which I just gotta say, that's very confusing. Maybe he lives in like a old world or old country for him to be still listening to radio when he was a kid. Maybe. I don't know. But the fact that he was a kid and he was listening to radio, he wasn't out before TV, and now the fact that he's not really that old, at least from what I know, and the Powerpuff Girls are talking about internet memes that came out in the last decade, that's highly confusing to me.
Yeah.
Like, I get it, alternate dimension, maybe time moved faster then, or I don't know. Maybe the whole concept of a television didn't come into fruition until like a year before memes. I don't know. But that was all generally confusing.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, and my whole point with that is I was going to go back to the enemy. They bring up this enemy guy, and he's gone. He's not at the end of the episode. He doesn't team up with, spoiler alert, him at the end from what I remember.
Nope, he's there and he leaves.
So, like, he's there and he leaves. And, like, okay, maybe in superhero movies, I don't watch too many of them, but in superhero movies and action shows, you do have the beginning villain. But you see, Powerpuff Girls is not primarily an action show. Or at least a reboot.
It should be.
It should be, but it's not. In fact, it's actually very, very interesting because I remember being told this, that the girls are very weak. And this episode showed just that. They try to battle this guy, then, like, isn't this the perfect time for ice breath? Or at least, like, if one girl goes down by directly charging at them, and the next girl goes down by directly charging at them, I don't think directly charging at them for the third girl would be a very smart move. I understand that they're children, but they're supposed to be superheroes. They're supposed to they're supposed to hold responsibility for the city of Townsville. That's the whole point of the show. If the point of the show is to show us 3 incompetent girls who can't really hold their own battle, then I'm sorry, that's just not interesting to me. And that's what this special kind of showed. And that's pretty much it from what I think. I do know that they don't really mention me except for this really, really annoying joke that actually had me say, in real life, in real time, really, because they actually did the whole me joke where it's not really me, it's named me. That's something I see on Planet Sheen. You know, I know a lot of people would say actually, I don't know. What's better, Planet Sheen or a reboot? I don't know.
I'd rather watch Planet Sheen, but that's just me.
I don't know. I've watched Planet Sheen. It's not that good. And I haven't watched too much of the reboot, so I don't know.
I haven't. That's why I want to watch it.
It's not that
Once
good.
I see Planet Sheen, I'd be able to tell you whether or not I'd watch it over the reboot, but
yeah, that's what I think of the first part. I think that a lot of stuff didn't make sense, but it was cut and dry. It was solid. It got straight to the point, and that is the bigger picture. That's what matters. I said this before in our collab, that they don't have a lot of people looking at the smaller details, and that's where the holes in their episodes generally are.
Yep.
Except for the big giant hole of the professor. I think that's actually much bigger than a lot of people may seem, because it's very confusing, because they build this villain based off of the professor basically listening to the radio.
Yeah, I mean,
that doesn't make sense in the timeline, unless he lives in the old world where technology didn't go faster. But you can't expect your audience to know that.
Well,
they're just gonna think that it happened a really long time ago.
That is one of the reboot's biggest, not one of the biggest, but like one of its reoccurring flaws. There is no sense of time. Like, it's as if every episode takes place at a different point in time, you know? Going back to the whole age thing that I mentioned with Silico, for example, like that, it's like a completely separate continuity from like the other episodes that have established this. Another example would be, let's take the episode's production codes, the order that the episodes are produced. From episode 1, which is apparently Princess Buttercup, even though Escape from Monster Island aired as the first episode. It's weird. Basically, the whole episodes got mixed up in airing order compared to when they were produced. The order is Princess Buttercup, Horn Sweet Horn, Wrinklegruff Gals. Now, it's interesting because this show, over season 1, has shown hints of continuity. In the Green Lantern powers, let's go with that. Every episode that was produced before Power Up Puff, which is the episode that they're introduced, does not feature the Green Lantern powers. But then once Power Up Puff aired, every episode that was produced after that had the Green Lantern powers. Now, Little Octy Lost, which aired right before Power Up Puff, had the Green Lantern powers, but that was produced after. So the airing order kind of messed up that continuity, but in terms of the way it was produced, that's how it is. Same with Jared Shapiro as a character, and Donnie as a character. Both of them are introduced in Horn Sweet Horn and Snow Month, and they don't appear in the series until after that episode. You know, Jared is introduced in the 22nd episode. There are 21 episodes before he shows up that don't feature him. Like, there are hints of continuity here and there, but then there are other times, to go back to Wrinklegruff Gals, where they're seen going to the first day of school, even though Horn Sweet Horn and Princess Buttercup both feature the girls either in school or on a school field trip. So it's confusing to me that there are some times where it's like, okay, the show does follow a timeline, but there are other times where it's like, okay, wait, no, this is taking place out of order now. Why is that? It doesn't make sense to me. There's so many intricacies with the way it works that it's confusing. It's hard to follow. But anyway, that's another tangent. Let's get back to Bliss. So my thoughts on episode 1, to keep it brief, because we are really going off on this. To keep it brief, episode 1 got repetitive. I thought it was okay by reboot standards. Now, if you didn't like it, you've got a lot to look forward to with the rest of this show. But I thought it was okay by reboot standards. I thought the creepy Bubbles head turn thing was actually kind of a funny gag. But, and I did like the serious twist at the end of the first episode. I thought it was like, wow, okay, they're taking this seriously.
I did like that as well.
I was impressed. I was like, okay, they're gonna make this a serious thing. And then episode 2 happened.
Yeah, is that the one where basically the entire episode
everything
goes
to shit?
Basically, everything revolves around the fact that Bliss can't control her powers, and is that the one where they basically try to make Bliss in an image of her?
No, it's the backstory episode. You're thinking of episode 3, I think.
Okay. So this is basically the part where we learn about Bliss and Mojo Jojo comes into the picture.
It is a clusterfuck.
Mojo Jojo as a character overall in that particular one was very interesting. I don't know if I want to call it weird, but it's very interesting because he's not necessarily an antagonist. A menacing one, I should say. Like, he does do things that go against the protagonist's wishes.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't really contribute so much in a menacing way. He's not a threat. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And somehow he knows Bliss, just like how the professor knows Bliss. And again, the whole changing the lore, I can see why people are outraged by that, especially for a 4-parter like this.
Mm-hmm.
The backstory, in my opinion, was a backstory. I know some people have really praised not only this backstory, but the Nat's backstory.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. I guess it's funny. But, this whole concept of her not being able to control her powers because she was on another chemical in which the professor didn't clean up. That whole thing was just, like, the professor is saying this. And the fact that they repeated it, like, they have certain things that they do in order to pad out time, and that's actually one of them. It just came to me.
Yep.
They repeat the story, but then they're painfully aware that they're repeating the story, so they want to catch up to the part. You can't do that. You can't be self-aware about something and expect the audience, like, meta humor goes a long way. You know, like saying, oh, we're on a podcast. It's okay if my phone just fell. It's okay to do that, but like after the 5th podcast, if my phone is still falling, it's not funny anymore.
No.
And that's exactly what this episode did, checking my phone for cracks. So I don't know if I appreciate the fact that they are parodying the professor's origins with the other Powerpuff Girls in terms of Bliss, because it doesn't necessarily, I don't think it was worth it. There are ways to make it worth it. I just feel like this particular execution was not one of them.
All right. So here's my issues with the backstory. Okay, so let me preface this by saying Professor Utonium is my least favorite character in the entire reboot. He is a shell of his former self. In the original, he was an amazing role model, an amazing father figure. He was pure. He was such a great character and a great influence for the girls to learn from. And, for the viewer to learn from. In this episode, in this series, they've essentially dumped him down into, like, Homer Simpson, except not funny at all. I know that's a little blunt, but, like, he's a super smart scientist, but he's a total idiot. They could play off jokes with that, but they really don't. The show really treats him like dirt, honestly. At least I see it that way. In the original series, he made the girls because he wanted to make the world a better place. He wanted to create the perfect little girl to bring life into this crime-ridden city. The city of Townsville, it was full of a bunch of villains and bad guys, and they were, robbing stores. And this is all established in the movie, by the way. All he wants to do is try and bring some, positivity, some good into the world. And that's exactly what he does when he creates the girls. In this reboot, it is now established he created the girls to beat someone in a competition. If that's not sleazy, I don't know what is. Like, honestly, I put it more mildly in my video, but if I can be completely honest, I think it's insulting to his character to turn it into to take something so pure like that and just kind of laugh it off and say, oh no, we're not going to do that. Take his character and turn him into this, I just need to be better than everyone else. So I'm going to create this artificial life and, win a prize. I don't know. I just see that as, it's very demeaning to the character. But, that's my biggest issue with it. And then on top of that, it retcons Mojo Jojo's origin story completely. So, I mean, I don't even know what the deal is with his character anymore. Completely messes with, it messes with so much of the canon. Oh, man. I didn't think I was ever going to have this rant, but I'm having this rant right now. Oh.
Just go on, man. We need this.
But, okay. So... Bliss. Oh, man. Now that I've said I was ranting, I'm not ranting anymore. Gosh darn it. Okay. Anyways, so...
Well, we're only on the second part. We're only on the second part. So
we're only on the second part. How long have we been going on this specifically? Like 25, 30 minutes? But, no. Like it's frustrating to see a character you like so much get turned into, you know, just such a humiliating like shell of its former self. And it's really unfortunate to see that. I know there are other issues I have with this episode, but like honestly, that's the biggest one. I thought the garage door gag was funny though. I did when Mojo pulls the lever and he opens the garage door. Yeah. I thought that was funny. That was a good part. That was a good part, but everything else
that was fine.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I could find any. Maybe you can remind me. It's not. I don't.
There
know
was
if
there was
was
one
funny.
other thing that I didn't. There was one other thing that was, I guess, supposed to be funny that I didn't find funny at all. Basically, he's going on another serious monologue, and then all of a sudden the doorbell rings and he like completely ruins the immersion. And I get that was supposed to be a joke, but I guess the way it was set up just like work, because I was actually like caught up in the like, because typically when that kind of joke is done, when you're creating this super serious environment and then bam, instant like mood whiplash, like, you know, typically not too serious that like, you know, the joke ruins the immersion, but like this was a case where it's like it felt like it ruined the immersion. Like I lost my suspension of disbelief when that happened, and I was kind of like that kind of like killed the mood. I was actually interested to see what the show was gonna do, but I don't know, that's just me.
I think Bliss is gonna be a main topic for our episode.
At this point, yeah.
I'm looking at the time.
It makes sense given that she was teased in the trailer, so you know she's coming back. I don't know why. Well, I know why, money. I don't know what she's going to be doing though.
All right, so let's just get into the third part. I just want to get into the third part only because it actually features my biggest problem with it. I don't know if I'm going to make a video on the whole Bliss thing. I still want to, only because I do want to talk more about, I say it's about literally every cartoon under the sun, but I do want to talk about the reboot more. I haven't talked about the reboot at all on my channel, only because at the time I felt like the backlash was really big, and I didn't want to that's one of the ones I didn't want to make a positive review on at the time, because I felt like it would have went over everyone's heads the way that it would for Fanboy and Chum Chum. When I did a positive review on that, a lot of people basically took that and basically said, oh, you know, it's one good episode can come out of it, when in reality there's actually a lot more good episodes of Fanboy and Chum Chum, and I want to get back to that as well. Hence my point where I say I want to get back to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I might get to Bliss, but I'm not too sure. Do you know I'm going to be talking about other episodes?
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest problem I had in the third part of the four-parter is that they repeat this whole scheme of the girls trying to make Bliss into a version of themselves. And they continue doing this despite knowing that she cannot contain her power. That and her quarrels with the professor, making the professor right in this particular instance. She cannot contain her power if she can't contain 3 girls yelling at her. The entire Nat guy, honestly forgettable.
Mm-hmm.
If we weren't talking about Bliss, I wouldn't have remembered him the way that I remembered him in the episode, or at least the first guy. The first guy, I say that I remember him, I don't even remember his name. But the first guy, at least I can say like he has contributed in a way that has led me to think about him when I think about the episode. This Nat guy, honestly, could go either way. Especially because it's not like the Nat has a problem with all of the girls, despite, I think, Buttercup being the one that actually like hit the Nat or something along the lines of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why does he have a problem with Bubbles and Blossom? Is it like you have a problem with one, so you have a problem with all? Because
pretty much
that doesn't really make too much sense. You also have the whole Me thing, where Me the elephant tries to get into Bliss's ear and essentially says that the professor doesn't respect her and that the girls don't treat her right, and that she should just go back to the island that she was at, because during the backstory, she was on a lost island, if you guys don't know.
Yeah.
Just want to say it for the people who haven't watched it.
Bird Poop Island, by the way, which is, I guess, funny or something.
Basically, she lived on Bird Poop Island. I guess it was a pretty clever twist that the elephant didn't die when she blows up, because it shows that the elephant isn't necessarily real, I guess. I mean, the elephant does end up talking, so that would be a clearer sign. But at that time, the elephant had not spoken, I believe. I don't think it did until after the backstory. I could be wrong. So all of those are major problems, but the one where the girls are trying to make Bliss into their image, it just sets up, obviously, that Bliss needs to be herself the same way when Blossom and Buttercup were basically telling Bubbles to stop doing what she was doing, when she basically was trying to say that Bliss was doing all the bad stuff. By the way, Bliss never they never acknowledged the fact that Bliss broke a lot of plates, but then again, we're coming from the same show that never acknowledged in the Poor Books episode that they murdered a family, so what should I expect?
Oh.
They keep doing the exact same thing, and I understand that, they're young, but that doesn't make for good writing. It doesn't. There's so many ways you could have went about this. You don't have to go about it in the exact same way. There's this thing called variation, where you could essentially have it end in the same way, but don't have it start the same way. Every single time when they're passing chili dogs, they fight over who can have the sloppiest chili dog. When they're on the swan boat, Bubbles wants her to focus on that. Buttercup wants her to focus on loud music. Blossom wants her to focus on taxes, which is really weird, but whatever. They keep doing...
She's the smart one, Jay.
Listen, I'm very smart. I don't read tax books.
I mean, I'm a physics major and I don't read textbooks, so... But anyway.
Oh, man. I don't like the fact that they keep repeating things, because it's obvious that they didn't really write too much for it, and they kind of wanted to get to the end. Was the end a good payoff? I don't know, Shadow. You tell me. Do you think that the ending was a good payoff? The ending battle, the ending twist?
Of episode 3 or episode 5?
It's 5?
Yeah, we're only on 3 still, right?
So it's called Power of 4, but it's a 5-part episode?
There's 5 parts, yeah. Yeah, Jay, didn't you know?
No, I watched it all at once. Like a normal person.
It's 5 parts. Okay, well, I'll just give my brief rundown, because you basically talked about 3 and 4 together as one episode.
For me personally, it doesn't matter, because it's supposed to be like this special.
Look, okay.
Didn't Star Versus do that?
Crap. My computer just went to sleep. Okay, anyways.
Same.
Okay, wow, we have this synced up perfectly. Okay, so episode 3, I believe I said in my review, I thought it was the most forgettable episode, because here's pretty much what happens. The girls leave, they attempt to make Bliss figure out how to use her powers, they fail. They try to make her use her powers, they fail. They try to make her use her powers, they fail. They do it like 3 or 4 times, and then at the end of the episode, the girls are in danger. Bliss just happens to be walking by. She sees a flaming tire almost hit someone. Suddenly, she can just magically control them out of nowhere, out of the blue. There's no build up. There's no practice. There's no training. It's just she's walking by. She sees a flaming tire. Boom! Spring into action. Save the day at the last second. And she can suddenly control them at all times now. Like, that was my issue. Was there was no build up. It was just her doing it and failing. And there was no change in her strategy. There was no change in her method. There was no growth. There was no learning from her previous failures. Every single time they try to do something, she just fails. But she doesn't learn anything from it, because then they just do the same thing, as you said, and then she fails again. And then they do the same thing, and she fails again. And they do the same thing, and she fails again. And then at the end of the episode, she can just magically do it. Like, there's no structure here. It's just... she fails, succeeds by dumb luck. But suddenly it'd be a different thing if it was like, she succeeded this one time and then went back to failing. It was just kind of a spur of the moment, maybe adrenaline or whatever. Like, that's fine. I can let that pass. But the fact that she is suddenly a master for the remaining duration of the special is what bothers me most about episode 3. That and the subtle jab at Wonder Woman, which I thought was completely unnecessary.
Yeah, that's right.
It's completely unnecessary, because it totally missed the point. Didn't
you watch Wonder Woman?
Dude, okay, so Wonder Woman, my personal favorite film of 2017. You know what you've done, Jay. Okay, so Wonder Woman is my favorite film of 2017, but that's we'll talk about that another time because we really need to get through this Bliss thing. What were you gonna say?
I'm just looking at the time.
We've been going for over an hour.
I know, and we're not even a quarter of the way through our topics.
Oh my word!
And the funny thing is, I just want to say in a meta sense that we were voted to talk about Sonic Boom, and like I'm just looking at this and I'm going either like we're either gonna have to cut out topics or this is gonna be a 3-hour podcast. I am calling it.
We're gonna get through this. We're gonna get through this. It's currently 1:03 a.m.
Jesus Christ! No,
we're gonna get through this. Okay,
I
will wrap this up.
No. Look. Let's give our 100%. But some of these things we're going to talk about next time. Okay? I'll pick and choose.
Okay.
Why 5 parts though? Like why not just release it as like a full thing?
Well, basically what they did is it's produced as 5 mini episodes. Well, 5 regular episodes. It's like the Night Begins to Shine special. It's just 5 episodes combined into one. Or like the island island adventure. It's 5 episodes combined into one thing. That's how they aired it. They just aired all 5 at once, like right in a row. That's what they did. Episode 4. Not very interesting until the ending where it's like, oh, she joins him. Now, I'm not going to lie. I love him. Him is a great villain. This was him's... I haven't seen every episode of season 2 yet, so he might have appeared in some other episodes that I haven't seen yet. I don't know. But in terms of the reboot as a whole, this is him's best appearance in the entire series.
Ooh.
That's not saying much because I mean, he didn't really do anything in Tiara Trouble, and same for Secret Swapper. And I mean, Electric Buttercup, I guess it was okay. But no, this was easily his best. Again, I thought it was interesting. I did like it. I thought episode 5, random anime references aside, was fine. I don't know. I think the anime references came completely out of nowhere. And I mean,
wait a minute, I just realized something.
What?
Okay, since we're on the ending, I mean, we've talked about Bliss.
Yeah.
I don't know how long, but I will timestamp it. Okay, so I just realized that him essentially, I'm assuming when he did it when he was mixed with Bliss, he essentially pulled Saturn in, right?
Mm-hmm. I was getting.
How long did it?
I was getting to that, but go ahead.
How long did it take for Saturn to get here, as opposed to at the ending where they're all like, "Goodbye, it's gonna take you a long time." No, just start up the rings again. Push it back. All right. You can't. You're essentially telling me that Saturn came here really fast.
Okay.
Cut through the asteroid belt. Cut through poor Mars. Like Mars is split in half.
Yeah.
Like it just came here in an afternoon. And then they're basically trying to sell to us at the end that it's going to take her a long time to push it back. Okay. Which, like, the Powerpuff Girls 2016, has no sense of time nor space.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And so there are if we're going to now...
And not even in a comedic way.
In legit, it's flawed. It's just a flawed show. It's why I talk about it, because it's fun. I talk about the show for a lot of reasons, mostly because it's fun and I enjoy doing it. I do enjoy seeing, some of the things that this show ends up pulling off, because it's kind of humorous. Okay, let's talk about the Saturn issue in a realist sense. It's physically impossible. If Saturn even goes so much as out of its orbit, the entire solar system is completely done. We are in a balanced solar system right now. And obviously, okay, now there's minor shifts and stuff. But if Saturn were to just suddenly be pulled entirely and forced towards the Earth, the whole solar system is doomed. Everything is all out of whack. Everything gets so disproportioned.
Didn't the episode mention something about that?
Did it?
I think it did something along the lines of like the universe is out of balance or something like that.
Oh, at the end they showed all the planets. Yeah, but that gets me to my next point. They did show that. You are right, but that is what I'm leading to.
Jeez, I'm just gonna set aside for this.
Everyone on Earth should be dead. Everyone on Earth should be dead. Because Saturn's mass is much greater than the Earth's. And the force of gravity, once those two bodies got close enough to where they were, should have pulled them right into each other, and thus colliding. Both planets should have collided, and considering the fact that Saturn is a gas planet and the Earth is terrestrial, Saturn is much, much bigger, and it would, like, the Earth would go, like, straight in, everyone on Earth would die. So him technically should have won, but, you know, that's the realist answer. I mean, obviously there's more specific stuff, and I'm not like super genius astronomy guy, but the basic answer is the force of gravity between them should have pulled them together. That'd be a great finale. Yeah, everyone dies, right? That's a great finale.
Wait, where are we supposed to stop, Saturn?
Everyone's just, that's such a look. Honestly, if that's how the series went out, I would honestly like praise it. That would have been hilarious. If everyone.
God dang it, Bliss! Ruin everything.
But you know, okay. Let's take a step back. It's a cartoon. Okay, it's a cartoon. But still, like the everyone has said this. Even I made this joke in my review. They poochied Bliss. Now, that's the Simpsons thing. Do you know Poochie from Simpsons?
I don't watch Simpsons that much.
Basically, she's this extreme new character. She comes in, she takes the spotlight. No one really likes her, and they make her leave. But she's coming back now, so yeah.
That was the entire Bliss segment, which led us into 90 minutes within the podcast.
Oh my god.
So overall, check out Shadow's video on it, first of all. But overall, I actually didn't, like I said, it's not the worst thing in the world. But it has a lot of glaring holes in it, and I feel like I said this with the Poor Bucks review, where it's just like a lot of small details that they drop the ball on, but the bigger picture seems okay. So this is the second episode where that's the case.
You've got a lot waiting ahead of you, Jay.
I know, I can confirm that I'm going to be talking about at least 3 episodes of the reboot going forward into the new year. So, there was another show. We're still on the upcoming CN shows. That has to be the big thing. So, another show was mentioned on the video. It was presented, and it was Total Drama Daycare. I've made a video on it. Shadow has not. So, I'm just going to let Shadow, good old Shadow Streak, talk about Total Drama Babies.
Here are my brief summarized thoughts. I'm probably not going to watch it because I stopped watching Total Drama after season 3 and I only ever go back to season 1 nowadays. And it doesn't make sense unless this is supposed to be a reboot because the characters did not meet each other until season 1. So why did they meet each other in Daycare? That doesn't make sense to me. So it's either a reboot or it's retconning continuity. Either way, I'm...
No. It's a spinoff. It's a prequel. So that's all we know. I feel like it's a spinoff. Yes, a prequel.
Well, yeah, that's
the biggest. That's what a lot of people have a problem with that. It's a prequel. But it also is 52. It's going to be 52 11-minute episodes. So I feel like they're going to be taking a comedic take because most of their seasons are 22 episodes. And as you know, half of 52 is 26. I don't think they are going to go with the elimination format, but they could. I don't think they are. But honestly, it could be a spinoff because the Redonkulous race was a spinoff from what I remember. But continue.
No, that's really all I have to say. I'm not really interested, honestly. I don't have,
I know a lot of people are. It has a very strong core fan base. I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to give it an open mind. I'm going to give it a fair shot. But I don't really expect it to be that good. I do think that Cartoon Network is still banking on the whole LOL random comedy that we've been seeing in shows like not only just the reboots, but also like Unikitty.
Yeah.
Unikitty loves LOL random humor. So
Though I'm not gonna lie, I think it does work to Unikitty's advantage. Actually, I do like it more here than some other shows.
Did you watch the Lego Movie?
I did watch the Lego Movie.
How is her character different, if it is?
All right, so I haven't seen the Lego Movie since 2014, so it has been a while. But Tara Strong plays up the happiness factor a bit more than what was the voice actress's name? I just looked this up a few days ago.
You already were looking stuff up. Just keep going.
Yeah. Voice. Allison Brie. Yes. Okay. So Tara Strong, who voices Unikitty in the cartoon, plays up the excitement factor a lot more, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, you know. But I did point this out in my video that I could get why some people might get a little annoyed by that. But in terms of her character, she seems relatively the same. I mean, she's basically just this happy, you know, joyful kitty unicorn hybrid that wants, you know, everyone to feel good and happy and, you know, positive vibes all the time. And whenever she becomes angry, you know, she becomes this, you know, like fierce, vicious, red version of herself. So like they take the same concept. I don't know. I didn't really notice much of a difference, but again, I've only seen 3 episodes, so that might not be enough to go off of just yet.
So this would be around the time when we talk about cartoons we watch if we didn't talk about Bliss for 30 freaking minutes. I mean, it's good. It was good. I like it. But I just realized that we could have split this off into 2 different podcast episodes, but it's the first one we would have never known until we started recording. So let's just get straight into Sonic Boom. You guys voted for it. We're going to be talking about every single episode of season 1 at least. How many episodes are in season 1 since you're already looking up stuff?
I believe it's 52, 11 minutes.
Jesus.
So, I mean, if we wanted to, we could honestly do like 2 episodes of podcast or something.
We could do 2 episodes. We could do that. It just depends on, it depends on what time we're going for. Like, if we're going for like a little over an hour or a little over 2 hours or a little over 3, then I can, you know, we can format it a lot better. But
yeah,
we saw episode 1, The Sidekick, Shadow. If you may look it up for the synopsis, that'd be great.
All right. I'm on Wikipedia. I've got it.
All right.
After an incident with Eggman's new creation, Burnbot, Tails gets injured, and for his own safety, Sonic begins to look for a replacement.
Essentially, what goes on in the episode is, during the beginning, there's a battle of Eggman and this robot. And Tails comes in to save the day. However, he ends up getting hurt, which leads into Sonic essentially wanting to replace Tails because he doesn't want Tails to get hurt the way that he did in the plane crash that happened. There's also a running joke with the Meltbot being called Meltbot?
Burnbot.
Oh, my bad. There's also a running gag with the Burnbot being called Burnbot because he doesn't have fire initially. Sonic points that out. It leads into a lot of people wanting to become his sidekick, including Dr. Eggman.
Yep.
And also Amy, Knuckles. The Knuckles one was actually really funny.
Yeah.
And was it a platypus or a beaver?
I don't remember what he was.
A furry.
Yeah.
And pretty much it's all comedy from there. They do harp on one particular point, which was that in Sonic's advertisement, flyer, whatever you would like to call it, he says that anyone is welcome as long as they have a resume or references, something along the lines of that. Which leads Tails, because he obviously doesn't want to be replaced, to try, as well as Dr. Eggman and the furry, which leads into a giant battle towards the end, in which Tails proves himself, and that's pretty much how the episode goes. Now, for me, personally, I thought the episode was pretty freaking great. I loved it. I loved the beginning. I loved how clever Sonic was in the beginning about Burnbot. I like how Dr. Eggman wasn't necessarily too annoying. I liked Amy's part. I mean, it wasn't necessarily the best part. Knuckles had the best part, in my opinion. And the ending wasn't necessarily that bad. So I do think that The Sidekick was a really good episode.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was an okay episode as well. Well, I mean, no, I shouldn't say okay. It was good. It was a good episode. especially, you know, as a good way to start off, because, like, again, Knuckles, hilarious, which I've heard he's, like, you know, hilarious in this show. So I'm looking forward to that. But no, I thought the episode was good.
Yes, we need to get to that one episode with Knuckles and Amy. And
Yeah,
yes,
dude.
that part. I don't want to spoil it.
But I'm looking forward to that. I think that's season 2 though.
Oh, we gotta talk about that anyway.
Yeah. Anyways, okay, but we'll get there eventually. But no, I thought it was a good episode. It was very, you know, it was very streamlined, you know, straightforward. You know, Tails doesn't want to be replaced. Sonic's just looking out for his buddy. I really like that. You know, like Sonic. I think it's like I'm more of on Tails' side here. Like Sonic is like overreacting, but like I get where he's coming from because he doesn't want his friend to be hurt. You know, he experienced a really bad plane wreck and he doesn't want to risk losing Tails. I totally get that, but I would say I'm more on Tails' side in the episode itself, because, like, you know, Tails can still handle himself. Sure, everyone has an accident once in a while, but, like, you know, he got back up on his feet. He was fine, you know. Shake it off. It's a cartoon. He's not actually going to die. So, you know, that's the cheap way out. But yeah, no, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good.
I liked it as well. This was a lot less in-depth than the whole Bliss thing, but, you know, Shadow's on here. So, you know, he's going to talk about the Bliss thing in a different way. Although, this is Sonic Boom. So, you know.
It is Sonic related, so I can bring a decent amount to the table. Just maybe not necessarily Sonic Boom related, but Sonic related.
I will say in our next podcast episode, it'll be a lot more structured so that Sonic Boom
will be.
So that when we talk, in fact, now that I think about it, one of these days we might have to, or maybe we don't. It depends on how season 1 ends. We would either have to do 3 episodes on one podcast, or if season 1 ends a certain way, we can continue doing 2 per podcast, and then have the last one, if it's like really, really good or a finale, we could just keep going the way we do. But if it's just some regular, you know, throwaway episode for the last one, we would have to do 3.
Yeah. I've actually seen the last episode. It's not a throwaway.
All right. So we can just keep doing 2.
Yeah. I mean, well, what we could do is we could just do like 3 next time. So that way we get like the second half of this first one. And then everything after that we go like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and so on.
Well, no problem. We'll see what people want. If people are okay with us going over 2 hours, hey, let's go over 2 hours.
I mean, this one's probably going to go over 2 hours, but
you never know.
Unless we cut it
down. You never know. So, I actually wanted to talk about this specifically on the podcast. I know Shadow also wants to talk about this, because I didn't necessarily want to make like an actual video on it, because it would have came across, at least to some people, as self-centered. But I do know that in the community, some reviewers tend to not do certain things, and a lot of reviewers tend to not do certain things, such as like Patreon, for example. A lot of reviewers don't do Patreon. Or, you know, basically saying like, share, subscribe. Some people don't do that. Like there's certain things that a lot of reviewers don't do. A lot of reviewers kind of reserve themselves to doing certain things. And I feel like doing a recap of me personally would have just came off bad. But I really do enjoy what 2017 was for me in terms of YouTube, because I went through a lot of ups and downs. In fact, I started off with the 50th special. I'm gonna go through mine, and I'm gonna let Shadow go through his.
Yeah.
I went through the 50th special, and then after that, I had the dreaded February, where I pretty much just stopped. I don't know why. It happened not only in 2016, but also in 2015, where in February, I just stopped. I burned out. I don't feel burnt out now, although I do have a lot of stuff that I want to get to before school starts. I do know that around that time, I also did meet Shadow. I also started up my Discord, but I was also extremely sick. So was Shadow. I was extremely sick, and that also kind of messed up a lot of stuff video-wise, because when I got sick, as you guys can see, I also was working on the Ed's finale, which is 90 minutes. So that was also a big pain. Going further, we have the summer. I'm going to call it the summer of alpha because I doubled in sub count. I went from 10,000 to 20,000, posting 3 videos a week on a very crappy computer, which even to this day, I still don't understand how in the world I was able to do that. I did collaborations with, Nintendo, the one and only CR Martin, and Pie Guy. Like, I know a lot of people haven't watched videos like my birthday video or my Pie Guy Rules video, and I completely understand because from their perspective, they may not see like my friends or Pie Guy as someone they'd be interested in watching, and that's perfectly fine. But for me, those are big accomplishments. Being able to have a video on my channel, like my birthday video, where it's just a lot of people, all of my friends pretty much on it, and we do like this funny thing. Like that to me means the world. The same way that I got to meet Pie Guy and have that hour-long conversation with him, basically talking about whatever I wanted to talk about within reason, which I did. That entire podcast wasn't scripted. I basically had free reign to interview him, and I enjoyed that. And I want to do that more often with other bigger YouTubers if I could. So, but we had a down period again, like February. Hurricane Irma did knock me over on my butt and pretty much stopped, and all video production stopped for a while. I did get a few more ups with like Amino, for instance. I got Amino sponsorship, which was very cool. Of the different Aminos, SpongeBob, Teen Titans, and Gumball Amino, if you're wondering. But I came back with a bang because I started posting a lot more, and this year it has been much easier to post a video and have it blow up. My Gumball versus, my SpongeBob scenes like this with the deleted Just One Bite scene, the regular show scenes like this, and the video that just came out, I don't know where it would be in terms of the post, like the upload date of this podcast, but my Cartoon Network in 2017 video. Like all of these videos are doing extremely well, and it's been much easier to blow up. A lot of people, and it kind of makes me think about when a lot of people say that you can't talk about what you want, and get big. And I've always disagreed with that because I've never once on my channel have I talked about something that I didn't want to talk about. I only talked about because it was trendy. Everything I have talked about topical content on my channel. I mean, I talked about Total Drama, for instance, but I wanted to talk about that. There's nothing on my channel that consists of topics that I don't want to talk about. So this whole idea of talking about popular stuff, which even if we're going off of that, I have the Channel Chasers video that a lot of people like. My Life as a Teenage Robot, that's also something that a lot of people like. The Just One Bite scene from SpongeBob, that's also something that a lot of people like. So it's not necessarily that you have to talk about popular stuff. You just have to talk about stuff that people are interested in. And that's what I personally go for. I strive for. And although the cartoon community isn't necessarily saturated, there isn't like a lot of people beyond like 1,000 subs or 5,000 subs, for example. This whole idea of YouTube being oversaturated with a lot of content creators, it's not really necessary. Like if you wanted to make a YouTube channel in 2018, you should be able to, because it's not like people talk about the algorithm, people talk about the whole Logan Paul incident and all that, and YouTube's burning, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just sitting here making videos I want to make, talking to people that I want to talk to, and creating one of the best, dare I say, again, disclaimer, my opinion is different from Shadow's. Please don't witch hunt him. Making the absolute best animation reviewer Discord that I think is out there right now. I don't know of any other animation reviewer Discord in which the person like of interest, in this case me, interacts with the people as much as I do. I don't know. Maybe there's someone on that I haven't even met yet that has a pop in Discord where he's always there and they're always having a fun time, but I haven't seen it. So, and Discord has been like the gateway to a lot of like amazing stuff that has happened this year. I met Shadow, I met the one and only CR Martin, I met Torsheep, and we've all like bonded through Discord.
It's true.
And I've also met people outside of that, such as the Crimson Mayhem, for instance, very recently. In fact, he actually commented on one of my videos as we were recording this podcast. I've met Mars Reviews, for instance, and I've also met Vox from the Roundtable. So like all of these people that I've met, and many more, I should say, all of these people I met, it all happened in 2017. So I can't really get on the bandwagon of saying 2017 was so bad when like I grew. Not only did I grow, but I grew substantially in terms of not just views and subs, but also impact. Because there's a lot of people within the community that know of me, that know of Shadow. And we're doing pretty much the videos that we want to do. Like Shadow, I know Shadow doesn't really, like, I know he does mostly. A lot of people confuse this with his entire video library. Yeah. He does mostly Powerpuff Girl related stuff, but when he wants to do something else, like he does it, and people generally enjoy it. Mm-hmm. In fact, he did a video on Olive the Reindeer.
All of the Other Reindeer, yes.
Olive the Other Reindeer.
Yep.
A 1999 movie. And it's a 30-minute video, and it did really, really well for his channel. Over half of his subscribers have watched it, at least according to the numbers. That's very, very impressive, because a lot of people have this theory that you only have to talk about Teen Titans Go, Steven Universe, Starverses, Adventure Time, and Modern SpongeBob to get bigger. Now, granted, I talk about Modern SpongeBob and Teen Titans Go, but it's because I personally enjoy those. You know what shows are very popular that I don't talk about? I don't talk about BoJack Horseman, I don't talk about Steven Universe, and I don't talk about Starverses. Those are popular, but I'm not necessarily that interested in making videos on them. I'll make a video on it if it's like a request, or if I find something that's very interesting. It's not like I'm going to hop on, like, I don't need to do that. I don't need to, I feel like for me, and a lot of people like Jem, my good friend C.R. Martin, like Mars, like we have all fostered a community of people who enjoy the videos that we put out and would have a very open mind into watching what we put out. I feel like if we were to put out something, maybe this is just me, but like sometimes, you know, I don't feel like content creators should be stuck in that trap of they have to make X because that's the only thing that people care about, because we're all human at the end of the day. We're not robots. We're not people.
Yep.
My bad. We are people. Oh my God. Someone freaking quote that in the comment section below. Sorry, I'm going off on a large tangent, but like this means something to me. I love YouTube, and the fact that so many people have been saying that YouTube 2017 has been such a crappy year because the YouTube rewind and all that stuff. Like, when you don't care about that, when that's not like, I get it, you know, some people have been demonetized to the point where they have been run off the platform and, you know, adpocalypse. I get that. But I was talking to my good buddy, Drops, he's in the related channels, and I remember having a conversation with him where I was like, I'm gonna work hard enough to make what I would be, like making what I would make if there wasn't an adpocalypse, but during the adpocalypse, so that when we're off the adpocalypse, I would just be making more. Because I don't really care. I don't care about half of the stuff that people worry about. Because it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. All that matters is making videos that your audience wants to see. And people like Shadow, people like Gem, and even people bigger, people like the Roundtable, for instance, they make videos that their subscribers want to see. And that's what matters to me. That's what matters at the end of the day. People's community. Building a community, building people who care about you and care about your videos and care about supporting you. That's what matters to me, and that's what I mastered, at least the basics of, in 2017.
I agree. I'm just kidding. I'm actually gonna talk.
No, we should have just ended it right there.
Just right there, yeah. No, my 20s. I'm gonna keep mine shorter, but because you pretty much named half of what I was going to say, which is getting to meet you and like everyone else in the community like was huge, because before 2017 started, the only person I got to know was Martin, and even then I only knew him for like a month or two, because he only approached me in like November for that Loud House collab we did. But other than that, but like before that, I knew no one. I was completely disconnected. It was just me by myself, 2017 changed when I got sick, and I was sick for like 4 months, and side effects of the sickness still linger to this day, but for the most part I'm over it. But and it was a rough time, but like I met you and everyone else in the community. It's great. I it's hard to believe how much time we've spent on Discord in and of itself. But
yeah, if it was like Steam where you can log the hours, that'd be amazing.
Oh my gosh, dude, I swear it'd be crazy how much, just to see how much time.
But like like a good chunk of all of my close friends are on Discord, and they're not like, they're just people who just hopped onto the Discord and started talking. Like, I remember, and the only reason I'm going to say this is because it's public information. He's been on my live stream. I remember when our good friend Bacon came into the Discord server very, very recently, and when he became a trusted member, I put him on the live stream because okay. When I started, I only knew of Enter, Pie, and Pan. And Enter, Pie, and Pan were pretty much really, really big. Big enough where they couldn't necessarily address everyone. They had a really, really big audience. So when I started out, I always wanted to bring in the community. Like, in this day and age, having like a live stream where I have an open Discord chat is probably a really bad idea, because someone can come in and say something, and that's my biggest concern. But like, for people that I've known for a long time, people who don't have like any hidden agendas or anything like that, I let a lot of people on my podcast. In fact, I let Shadow on multiple times. I've let on my good friend Drops multiple times. And like I said, I've let in my good friend Bacon multiple times. I've let in a whole bunch of people on the podcast. I mean, wow. I will let them on.
Do you mean streams?
Sorry. I let a whole bunch of people on the streams. I will let a whole bunch of people on the podcast. You know what? How about this? Listen, anyone who's gotten this far, the 13 of you. All right. If you're over 7K, open invitation, and you're not Logan Paul, that's going to be my way to segue into that.
Okay.
So a lot of people are up in arms because popular YouTube vlogger Logan Paul has released a video, I believe the 1st of January, in which he visits a suicide forest on the other side of the world. We live in America, by the way. In which in his vlog, he prominently features the dead body in its entirety, and he does not treat it, in a lot of people's opinions, with the respect that it deserves, considering that it's a suicide forest, and considering that this guy may have committed suicide very, very recently. There's some points where he appears to laugh, there's some points where he doesn't necessarily treat the body with respect, and although he blurred out the face, he doesn't blur out the rest of it. He shows how purple the hands are, and he doesn't necessarily treat it with a lot of care. And a lot of people in the community, and when I mean a lot of people, I mean a lot of people in the community, were up in arms.
Like hundreds of thousands.
We're up in arms about it. Except YouTube, who put his video on the trending page, and then his apology as #1 on trending, even though trending is supposed,
like 10 million views,
even though trending is supposed to be handpicked.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of outrage about it, and a lot of people have been tweeting about it. A lot of people say that this is going to be Adpocalypse 3.0, in which advertisers will see this, or big companies, big media companies will see this, run stories on it, which will cause the advertisers to pull out, which will cause a lot of basically hysteria. Because like I said, a lot of people really do want to make YouTube their thing. And the way that I have made YouTube my thing, in a way, I would consider this anywhere in the gray area between a hobby and a part-time job. I do receive money from it, but it's not, I have an unspoken commitment, nothing like on paper. I'm not with any network anyway, so I don't have to worry about that. So it was wrong. I will say that. It was wrong. However, I came at it from the perspective of hundreds of thousands of people have been complaining about it. YouTube is doing absolutely nothing about it. And I feel like I'm in the minority when I say that I think people got the wrong guy. I think the right person to get for this is YouTube. People need to make their videos and make their mentions towards YouTube. Why? Because if one person does something that messes up everything for the entire platform, and this isn't even like the PewDiePie thing, because the PewDiePie thing where he did say the N-word and he was doing all that Nazi stuff, some of that stuff was taken out of context. This was direct and intentional. People need to bring it to YouTube. People need to essentially tell YouTube that this right here can pose a problem to a whole bunch of people on the platform, including YouTube themselves, and needs to deal with it accordingly. Telling Logan Paul that he's a piece of crap doesn't change anything if his entire audience is impressionable kids who most likely will forget about it. Now, I've heard counter arguments to this in which YouTube may use cutting Logan Paul if they did, which are not. Basically using it as like, okay, well, if we're gonna cut this, then we can also cut these guys because, you know, they did something very similar. They didn't do anything like it, but they did something very similar, and then they end up cutting people that either they don't like or that they mistakenly put into the category of what Logan Paul did. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I get that, but there needs to be fairness because there's a clear difference between the big YouTubers and the big Viners that came over into YouTube, like the Paul brothers and Lele Pons, for example, and the big companies. And it seems like the big YouTubers get the short end of the stick. If a YouTuber did this, I don't know if YouTube would have taken it. I don't know if YouTube would have let that particular person have the option to take it down or put it on trending. If a big company did this, I don't know if YouTube would have taken it down. So the Paul brothers are in a very comfortable position to do what they do. My whole point with this is that, number one, please do share all of those suicide prevention numbers and all of that. That's very, very important that people know about that particular information. But my unpopular opinion is that I don't really care about what Logan Paul does. I care more that YouTube doesn't care about what Logan Paul did. That, to me, is more concerning because it goes back to the whole Cartoon Network thing if you want to draw parallels. But if we call Logan Paul a piece of crap, that doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things because we don't pay him. We don't give him the audience. If we can get YouTube to think Logan Paul is a piece of crap, that means something. Something can be done. And I didn't see a lot of people mentioning YouTube in their tweets, even if it's at the end.
I saw some.
I saw people saying like, YouTube, get your crap together. Cause I've seen people make videos on it and those videos got taken down. Mm-hmm. But like I feel like majority of the outrage, if just like half of that was sent YouTube's way, I feel like they will listen. But a lot of people, I feel like YouTube essentially viewed it like this. Like if it becomes a problem for them, then they will step in. You know, yeah. And that's how, and guess what? Even though they get and it's very interesting because YouTube already gets this constant stream of criticism. So I don't know if people's criticism for Logan Paul, was highlighted in their constant wave or if it got buried. So I don't know if I want to say that the amount sent to YouTube was critical. I know we're on YouTube essentially telling people to go hate on YouTube, but they're not going to listen to this anyway. So I don't care.
Yeah.
I feel like more should have been sent to YouTube so that they know it's their problem, number one, and number two, that people won't be supporting it. Because obviously if they care about advertisers pulling out, then if we, like as a community, did the exact same thing with YouTube, showing outrage by large, that would have did much more than basically what you got out of Logan Paul, which was a half-hearted apology. So
I wouldn't even say it was half-hearted. And
a lot of people wouldn't even say that because he said he didn't do it to get views. He gets views. I remember Mars actually cropped that out, and that was what I got out of the apology. The fact that he was kind of like promoting himself, but also saying like, oh, I'm just human like anyone else. But I get it. You know, like you want to focus your anger on Logan, but if you focus your anger on YouTube, I think we would have had a higher chance, not definite, but a higher chance of getting something done. But what do you think?
My stance on the issue is I've never been a fan of the Paul brothers to begin with. You know, when that whole thing happened back last summer, I didn't care. I don't really follow them. I mean, you know, sure, they're doing much better than I am, but you know, at the end of the day, like, I don't know. I'm this expands into celebrities in general. I don't really follow any celebrities or any, like, you know, big like drama stuff that happens like that. And like this sort of thing would typically fall under that category if it weren't for one thing, and it's the fact that he's making fun of suicide. That doesn't fly with me. Now, I completely agree. YouTube needs to get their act together and figure out something, because this is not acceptable, you know, for him to get away with that. Because not only that, but if he can do it and get away with it, why shouldn't anyone else be able to do it, you know? And because then they're selectively enforcing their guidelines, which isn't exactly, you know, proper, because they have their guidelines set that apply to everyone. They can't just cherry pick who they're going to let slide by like that. Like, that's not okay. That's not cool. You know, I think YouTube really does need to figure out something, because, you know, and like every couple months there's always the YouTube is over party. YouTube is dying. YouTube is blah, blah, blah. Okay. For a little, we've still got time. YouTube is still going to be around for a while. You know, it's huge right now. It is huge. Like, it's not going anywhere. In terms of the Logan Paul thing, quite frankly, I think they're both to blame. Like, I think Logan Paul, for what he did, and especially the fact that he's handling it so poorly, and like he's not taking it seriously, that's disgusting. That's honestly, like, that disgusts me. Especially someone who's like been affected by like, you know, that sort of thing. You know, it's just, it's insulting to me. And that doesn't fly. Like how would he feel if someone close to him died that way? Like, would he still be making fun of that sort of thing? I don't think he would.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, in my head, I was thinking, like, if that was someone who was close to him in the forest, would he have released the video?
I don't think he would.
I don't think he would. However, I did hear this, and this is going to be very, very hard for some people to hear. Like I said, third time, disclaimer. Don't witch hunt Shadow for the crazy stuff that I say. A lot of people have said that, I've heard this theory where basically there's one reason why, the original video got as many likes as it did. And it's not necessarily just because they're supposed to be low gangsters or whatever. It is because that is how they would have reacted the exact same way if they were in that exact same position, because a lot of people in this world, at least on the Western Hemisphere, do not think of it that way until it has directly affected them. That's very dark. It's very grim, but I feel like that theory has some legs.
I would agree that, and that's not just a suicide thing though. That applies to a lot of situations. You know, it's kind of the whole idea. Diseases, death. It's the channels getting taken down. It's the whole idea of, well, you know, it's not happening to me. It's not happening to me. So like, you know, okay, well then it's fine, you know, but like it is a serious issue because it's happening to someone, you know, like that victim had a family, you know, like I'm sure they're affected by it. Yes. And it's inconsiderate. The whole view of suicide is treated very, very, computer went off. Very, 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 very different on the other side of the world. I know, because, like, for example, let's stick with Japan. The act of seppuku, for example, is you know, a method of, you know, suicide through disembowelment that was typically seen as, you know, that's the Japanese tradition of suicide. Basically, you know, it had carried on for, gosh, I don't know, like centuries, basically. But it was originally, you know, the way a samurai, when he, you know, wants to die with honor rather than fall into the hands of their enemies, he would, you know, kill himself that way. And, you know, it wasn't seen as like a mental disease. It was seen as like, you know, an honorable way to, you know, end one's life. You know, like it's a ritual. It's not, you know, it's not a method of, you know, depression or, you know, mental anxiety or that sort of thing in that specific case, of course. But, and that's only one example. But, like here in like, at least where we are in America, you know, suicide isn't, you know, it's not a tradition. It's not, you know, ritual or anything like that. Like it's an issue. It's a mental health issue. I don't know the full story behind the victim, like what led the victim to do that, if there was a significant meaning behind it, or if it was a mental health problem or what have you. I don't know the full story, so I can't speak on that. But I can speak on the way that Logan reacted, and you know, it was super uncalled for. I just can't get over the fact that he lives with himself. Like he actively chose to upload that video knowing the content. I don't know. I just, like, what was going through his mind? You know, besides the obviously, you know, getting views and crap. Like, was it worth it? Was it really worth it? I don't know. I don't think it was, but that's just me.
Now, so that we don't end off the podcast in a very depressing way, I do have hopes for 2018, and as the Shadow, and I'm actually going to read Shadow's goals, actual goals for 2018. Maintain a consistent upload schedule.
All right, that one's probably not happening. Let's be honest.
I don't know. It might. Look, listen, I have faith. I just need school to start before I go, you know, and support that. Because
I get that.
When school is not, I've been posting a lot, but that's because there's no school. It's literally the summer thing, you know. Expand beyond only talking about the Powerpuff Girls.
That's gonna happen. I'm making sure of it. I mean, look at the last 3 videos I did.
Well, beyond reviews, because one of those was an impression. Another.
I mean, yeah, just, you know, obviously,
because
I'm gonna be doing,
because you did do impressions of stuff like OKKO, for instance, and Infinity Train. So it's not like you haven't. It's just review-wise,
they've been very sparse.
Well, I was gonna say review-wise, you don't really do that except with Samurai Jack, I believe. Was that it?
And Olive, if you want to count that.
Well, that's recent, so.
Yeah. And I did do the Loud House collab with Martin, but other than that,
collabs, several collabs.
Yeah.
Okay. Several collabs.
No, you have to read it like collabs. Several collabs.
Several. Give me a number.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe like 7.
7 for the entire year.
7 or 8.
8 on your channel.
On my channel alone. That's not counting other people's channels.
Okay. All right. Okay. Upload 50 plus videos over the course of the. Okay, hold up. Let me just do.
That's 1 a week.
That's 1 a week. That's not 1 a week. How dare you? 52 weeks.
Okay, you know what? Well, I'm not counting.
These 2 weeks.
No. This week was Unikitty.
You're not gonna count the week of your birthday. You're gonna be partying your butt off, snorting cocaine.
I don't do drugs. What are you talking about?
Listen, look, my opinion and your opinion are separate.
That's not an opinion.
I know it's an allegation, but in my opinion, I think you take cocaine on your birthday.
I would not.
Look, I don't support heavy use of drugs, but I mean, if it's your birthday and you know you don't know if it's salt or sugar, but you want to snort it, find out.
I'm not sticking any powdery substances up my nose.
But you can become a Powerpuff Girl.
No, stop. Okay, next question.
Question. Get to know more people in the community. Hi, I'm Shadow. I say cork.
Wait, you're Shadow.
Hi, I'm Shadow. I use cocaine during my birthday.
Oh my god. Get out of here. Get out of here. Don't even give me this right now. It is 1:56 a.m. I will not stand for this.
That's because we talked about Bliss for way too long. We talked about Bliss for like
I'm sorry.
really long, and then Sonic Boom not so long.
Yeah, we'll balance it out next time. It's the first podcast. What do you expect? I mean,
excuses.
Yeah, you're right. You caught me.
Now my goals, a lot more bold. Probably gonna fail some, but you know, gotta go big or go home. 100K subs before the end of 2018.
I think you'll do it.
I'm gonna push for it. It's 4.6 subs a month, and I did 44 when I had 45 at the time, so it's even less than that, and I'm getting way more than 4.6 in the last 28 days, so let's just keep going with that. Salute to my core. Do another interview with a popular YouTuber. I pretty much might be doing that very, very soon, and do as many live streams as I did last year, which was 5. I counted 5. And I want some of them to be solo live streams. Although, like I said to Shadow, I don't know if I can sustain an hour of talking to myself. I can sustain 2 hours talking to Shadow only because I talked about the Powerpuff Girls. So, you know, that helps a lot. But an hour.
And we have a voice chat like every week, so.
A new Twitter banner. And if you don't know what my Twitter banner looks like, this is what it looks like. 4 on each side and 1 in the middle. The 1 being from the lovely, incredible artist Teeves. I'll put all of the other artists in the description below. They're all amazing, and I'm so grateful to have had a commission from all of them. And some of them basically show the gradual progression of my channel. Like, as you can see right here, that would be my Fiverr logo, which is the only one I can't really show because that particular person, their account is no longer there. And then I went into the one with the panda with the red hoodie, but it wasn't necessarily as cartoonish. And now I have this one right here that I use for all of my thumbnails. A lot of people seem to like it. Some people haven't really gotten used to it. And I've thought about whether I should keep going with it or not. And I do want to keep going with it because I'm not too big on emotes. I know Shadow uses it. I know Martin uses it. I know Gem uses it. I know I Hate Everything uses it. I know Pie Guy uses it. And that's kind of the thing. I kind of want to do something different. I want my videos to stand out in that particular way. I'm not against the idea of emotes. In fact, I will be using emotes for something different going down in my channel. Not necessarily of my panda avatar. But that's not something I personally want to do. But going back to the point, I want to have 9 on each side this time instead of 4 on each side, and 3 in the middle. So that'll basically mean I need to find 12 incredible artists, and I'm very picky. So before you send me your 4 out of 10 art, just know that I'm very picky, especially because these are paid commissions. Post as many videos as I did last year, 75 or 7 per month. 75. Jeez. I don't know about that one, but hey, I'll try. Become good friends with a lot more people, including the one I put in the Twitter post. I did at a lot of people that I was very, very interested in becoming friends with on Twitter, and I would like to become good friends with a lot of them because I want to become good friends with a lot of people in the art and animation reviewing community like I do now. Very good friends with a lot of people. Help out a few smaller channels that I personally feel deserve the exposure. I am talking with some small channels, and I do want to support smaller reviewer channels, specifically on animation or animation reviewing, and that's just my way of giving back. You don't have to give back. I'm not that type of person where I feel like the biggest person in our community or the big people should have to give back. I fully believe in the market should decide. I know, full capitalist, but that's just how I am. I want to give back only because I feel like that's personally what I would have wanted. Like, if I was, like, doing this the way that I am, you know, staying up until 2 a.m. making content for people. Like, I would have wanted someone around my size to come and basically make a video, you know, give me at least that extra bump that I may need. Do an event correctly. I can't go into a lot of detail with it because I don't want to announce it and then not do it for the third time. Third time in a row. That'd be very terrible. But I am doing a big event. It's not my Total Drama Season 1 thing, which a lot of people voted for in the community tab, which I will do. Which goes into my next goal, which is commit to a big project. If I do that, then boom, that goal is done. Moving on. collab with everyone in my reviewer circle. I have been in talks with pretty much everyone on my related channels. That's pretty much going to be a good possibility, except that Alpha Plays guy. That guy doesn't want to collab with me, so.
Oh, that's too bad.
Don't subscribe to him. Yeah, screw him. Screw Alpha Plays. And Beta J. I hate Beta J.
Oh, yeah.
I also want to become a Discord partner. I'll read exactly what Discord wants. For YouTube, we look for channels with at least 100,000 subscribers and 10,000 average views per video. And we must upload 2 to 3 videos per week. Because I want to get that shiny, luxurious status symbol of a Discord hoodie. And not die. That's also a goal of mine for 2018. I don't want to die.
It's a good goal.
I know we just started off with the whole. I know we were just talking about the whole Logan Paul thing, but you know, I just can't wait to get to 100K, because when they give me the award, the silver play button, I can't wait to get it in the mail, open it up, and see that it's for Gem Reviews! It's for Gem Reviews! He's the one who gets it because it's a mistake. Because everyone who gets
Gem.
a silver play button on YouTube that I've seen make a video about it, it's always a mistake.
I'm sure he'll be down. Can you tell I'm dying?
We are 2 hours.
Have you noticed I've been talking less and less? Like, come on.
Let's just go on for 3 more. Well, okay, alright. So, how about this then? If people like this, we could do this. If people want it a little shorter, they could do that. I'll put up a poll, and we'll see. Okay?
That's fine.
In fact, I'm gonna put it up right now, right as we're doing this, right as we're doing.
But they won't even hear this yet.
I don't care.
Okay.
I'm gonna go into the community tab at 2:04 a.m. I'm gonna put up a poll, like, hey guys, so for the podcast I'm doing, what would be a very ideal time? Okay, this is behind the scenes of how the Alpha J works. Ah, crap! Everything is opening up. Crap! No, I was playing against Rating Tacos. It's gonna play. Wait. Stop. Wait. Close all other tabs. Come on. Ah, jeez. Come on.
How many tabs did you have open?
13, but we'll talk about that another time.
Okay.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I get your hint.
If you're insinuating that I watch your content, I do. Yes, I had 12 tabs.
You, Jay.
12 tabs of your videos open. You know, that was actually really loud. If I get yelled at for that, I just want you to know I'm keeping it in the video.
Oh, okay. Go for it.
I feel like it's gonna happen though. Unless my name is spoken, then I can't. Okay. Anything else you want to say as I type this in the community tab?
Nope. This was fun. Let's do it again.
Well, if that's all you wanted to say, make sure to follow Shadow at @ShadowStreak, because he has to put an A in front of everything. On Twitter, I'll also leave his other social media links in the description below. Make sure to follow me at The Alpha J Show. And I also wanted to do this. If you have like any questions that you would like to give to me or Shadow as some sort of like mailbag thing, that'd be super cool of you guys. We'll make sure to answer as many as we can at the end. Mm-hmm. I don't know if this whole 2 hours and 30-minute mark is going to be something that you guys will like. Maybe it will be. I don't know. But I do want to give you guys the option, which I am, in the poll, which is going to be in this video. It's also going to be in the community tab. I'm also going to do it on Twitter because I really want to have that down so that we can structure this a lot better. I do think it was good, though. I do think that the podcast was good.
Yep.
So make sure to catch us next time. I don't know when that's going to be, but I will let you know via Twitter. Well, it depends, because I don't know if I want to do a podcast on a set schedule or if I want to do a podcast when something big happens that warrants a podcast, because that also could work. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get that. We'll figure something out.
Well, if you have nothing left to say, I'll talk to you guys later. I hope your time's well spent. And Alpha out.
Am I supposed to stop recording now?
Putting it in the podcast.
No, don't you dare, Jay. Stop.
I'm still recording.
You are? Okay, I'm going to keep recording.
Yeah, we're just going to record all... I got 186 hours left, Shadow. We could do this.
No. Absolutely not.
I'm keeping all this in the podcast.
No, don't.
Why not?
What's the point?
This is all the end card.
Are you kidding me right now?